Hello, everybody. How are you? And I know I look so crazy with my little Christmas Santa hat that I had to put on because I am getting super excited that it is officially the holiday time. I know that, kind of started, back at Thanksgiving, but I just did some decorating in my apartment today, and I am just finally getting really into that holiday cheer. So comment below if you're hopping on. Tell me hello. Let me know that you're here. And yeah, I'm starting to get really tired. It's been such a busy weekend, and I just had an awesome dinner. Gary and I went on a little date and had some amazing Indian food. And so I'm kind of like in that carb coma. So anyway, today, I have a Real Talk designed or centered around, being authentic and being true to yourself. And this is something that's been on my heart, this week. And I was actually sitting here and writing out some notes yesterday because I just had so much on my mind, with being authentic, being real, and what really, what is being authentic? What does that really mean? What does it mean to me? What does being authentic mean to you? So I wrote out a bunch of stuff, and it almost turned out being like a journal entry. And, it really kind of just blew my mind what was coming out of me when I was taking pen to paper and writing it out. And my cat is behind me playing with the Christmas tree. Sassy, get down. 'Tis the season. So I do have my handy duty notebook. It is in my hand. I may really not even utilize it. I may utilize it. But the reality is that for me to be authentic, it's just to speak from the heart. And in what the stuff I wrote a lot of it was speaking from the heart and where I'm at. And so, for me, being authentic, being true to myself, is really about paying attention to that little voice that's inside you. And sometimes I have to ask myself, when it comes to being authentic, am I being trustworthy? Am I, being real? And when I say being real, being the real me, the, purest form of me that there possibly is. And that's with all areas of my life. And, am I being honest? Those things are very important to me. And that is something that I try very hard to portray in my life, in all areas, whether it be in personal relationships, at work, even just being honest with myself, and sometimes it's kind of exhausting when you have to sit there and kind of ask yourself all these questions. But, that's what helps me be the truest form of me and be able to follow what is right for me. So I found this quote, and I actually downloaded this app yesterday called the Medium app, and there's articles. It's full of different articles in personal development and things to that nature. And I found this quote, and I actually have two of them that I'm going to read. This one, is basically, the meaning of, being authentic. And basically the meaning of being authentic is not being false, not copying, not copying something or someone else. Authentic is being genuine and from the heart. So I love reading my handwriting and then sitting there thinking to myself, what am I even writing right now? And so, hi Tina, thanks for stopping by. Today we're talking about being authentic and being true to yourself. So, and going back to other definitions on what authentic means, representing one's true nature or beliefs, being true to oneself and to the person identified. And those were little definitions I found by Christopher D. Connors on the Medium app. And those are, good ways of explaining being authentic. And that quote I had posted yesterday, this is pretty powerful. To be authentic, we must cultivate the courage to be imperfect and vulnerable. We have to believe that we are fundamentally worthy of love and acceptance just as we are. I've learned that there are ways to invite more grace, gratitude, and joy into our lives than by mindfully practicing authenticity. And that was by Brené Brown. And the truth is, I strive in my life to be authentic, to be the real me. And for years, I was so lost and I didn't really even know what that meant for me. I spent a lot of years when I was younger growing up being bullied, made fun of. I didn't, if I made a certain joke or, put it this way, I was a goofball as a little girl. Like, I was just silly, and I still am silly, and I still am goofy. But I can remember if I said something that somebody thought was dumb, and and they would make sure they let me know that it was dumb, and they would call me names, and it was very hard for me to be authentic because I really truly believed that whatever it was, whoever I was not good. I was constantly worried about if I said the wrong thing, were people going to be mean to me? If I said the wrong thing, were people going to get mad at me? So I was constantly trying to play roles that other people wanted me to be. And I literally can remember being so many different versions of me. It was almost like I was trying out a used car, just multiplying, or driving multiple cars, trying to buy a new car. You're just constantly trying different models out, different makes out. And that was kind of what I was doing for so many years. I can remember there was one time I was like, what? I think I'm supposed to be, a punk rocker. So I went to Hot Topic and I bought the big baggy jeans and the choke collar and, a Hello Kitty t-shirt or something like that. And I rocked that for a little bit. And I was like, it didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable in my skin. So, it was very hard for me to be authentic. And I didn't know how to listen to that little voice inside me that was telling me, this isn't you, this isn't right. If it didn't make me, I couldn't put it all together. So it was very hard. And eventually I lost my way completely. I didn't know who I was, what I was supposed to be doing on this earth. And I went down a pretty tough and rocky road. And I thought at certain points that I was being the real me and being authentic. And I thought the authentic real me was somebody that was, buried in a bottle of booze and acting crazy. And that was okay. And that was who I was supposed to be. And for about 4 or 5 years, that was the life that I lived. And then, things turned around for me. And I really, honestly, coming into a place of recovery from alcoholism and starting to work a program that actually forced me to look at my part in things, to put pen to paper and write these things out, look at my resentments, look at my part in things, and to be able to actually take ownership in my part and in my doings, right my wrongs, has definitely created a path to allow me the opportunity to really get to know who I am. Because slowly but surely, I'm peeling back layers and I'm removing blocks. And I finally started to see and learn who I was. And that silly, goofy little girl that used to feel like I was, if I said the wrong thing, I was going to get made fun of and bullied, all of the sudden I start becoming the silly, funny girl that people find funny and they like being around me, because that funny, silly side of me is authentic and really who I am. And I really started to thrive with that. And then as I've continued to go down this road, I've learned that I'm an artist and I paint beautiful paintings, and that I have a story that can inspire so many people. And it comes from a place of honesty, and it comes from a place of truth. I share my story based on the wholehearted truth of what it is. And that is authentic. That is being true. And because of that, I stay true to myself when I'm presented with situations or presented with, people that have other opinions of me or how I'm viewed. Last year I was coloring my hair all sorts of crazy colors. There was at one point my hair was blue and purple, and I loved it. And I was freely expressing who I am and not giving a shit. Literally not caring. And it was so freeing to finally be able to be in a place where I'm going to color my hair whatever the hell I want, and it's going to be blue and purple, and it's for me. It wasn't for show and tell to attract people to me or draw much of attention. It was just, I'm finally in a place where I don't care, because this is who I am. I am a vibrant, colorful human being. I have this huge personality, right? And sometimes I'm really funny and sometimes I'm really serious. I have a level head and I come from a place of love and compassion, but I also can be very direct and stern, right? And that's okay, and I've had to learn to be that way, but I've also had to learn the right moments to utilize all of that. But overall, there's just this huge personality inside me, and it comes out in all different ways. And the one thing is that I love being able to have the freedom to express myself the way I want to, right? So I got a lot of, positive feedback from having blue and purple hair. There were people that loved it. I had women that were 80, 90 years old coming up to me and saying, I want to do that to my hair, but I just don't know if I can. And I'm like, just do it. It's only hair. You can change it back. Just do it. Be you. And I also had people that would be like, oh my God, why did you do that? You had such beautiful hair before, blah, blah, blah. It's so ugly. And I'm like, it's not on you. It's not yours. This is mine. This is mine. This is for me. And this is my freedom of expression. And you can't take that from me. And, there is something powerful to be able to look at somebody who is trying to knock you down verbally, and to be able to stand up and say, this is mine, this is for me, and this is who I am. Take it and do with it as you will. You don't have to look at me every day. You don't have to look at me every day. And you know what? I loved that purple and blue hair. Loved it. And it was a pure representation of me, as somebody who is vibrant and colorful and is full of personality. And unfortunately, it was just too hard to maintain. And I started to grow my hair out, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm done with the blue and purple hair. However, that could make a comeback in the future. It's just, the possibilities are endless. And, and that's just basically just kind of like an example for, what I mean as far as being authentic and being the real you. You have to find your way to be able to express yourself freely. And the thing is that in this world, there are going to be naysayers. There are going to be people that are not going to agree with you. There are people that are going to come into your path and say, not this way, do it that way. If that doesn't feel good, right to you, if it doesn't feel that it aligns with you, what your vision is, if it doesn't make, if it's not something that's right for you, then don't do it. You have to listen to what's inside you. And that voice inside you is telling you, because that is being honest with yourself. If you're trying to continue to be in that people-pleasing mode, and you want to make sure that you don't want the confrontation, so you're going to do what they say anyway, even though deep down inside it's not being true to who you are, then that's not being really authentic and honest with yourself, and you're not really being honest with that other person, because you're just portraying whatever it is they want you to portray. So the authenticity is gone, right? So, these are just things to have to really, we have to pay attention to, There was that point in my life when I lost myself. I turned to substance abuse, like I said, and I was depressed, and it blocked me, and I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to listen to that voice. So when somebody would tell me, don't do it that way, do it this way, your way is wrong, my way is right, I would turn around and do it their way, even if there was something inside me saying, no, don't do it that way. If it was hard for me to listen to those things. I'm just taking a minute because I just kind of went on this big tangent. If you're feeling that there's a situation going on in your life or a person in your life, anything that you're not 100% sure of is the right thing for you, or you're not sure if you're really being open and honest and being authentic, I encourage you to stop and ask yourself that question. The questions like I asked earlier, am I being honest with myself? Am I being trustworthy? Are you being the real you right now? When I sit back and I ask myself these questions, if I'm asking myself that question because I'm unsure if I really am being the real me, most times I'm not. And there's something that, fear or that insecurity, or there's still those little voices inside your head that are telling you, that, you're not good enough, or, calling you names because that's what you had instilled in your head at a young age. Those things help mold you. So you kind of have to ask yourself, what is the truth in that? What is holding you back from, what it is that's, going on inside you. So if you're saying you're in a situation and somebody wants you to do something you don't want to do, and you're ignoring everything inside you telling you this isn't right for me, because, for whatever reason, like you're fearful, take that time to really sit down and ask yourself, am I really being honest with myself here? Am I being true to me? And you'll find the answer that you're legitimately looking for. And as hard as it is and uncomfortable to do at first, you'll know that you have to say no to whatever it is and stand up for what's right for you. And I can only hope that I am making sense right now. Like I said, I have this notebook, like it turned into like a journal entry for me yesterday. Like, I was sitting on the couch. I tried to lay down to take a nap yesterday afternoon, and I just had so much reeling. And I wrote all this stuff out, because I had to get it off my mind, and I had to just get in a good place with it. And I'm like, maybe I'll use the notebook and maybe I won't. And the thing is that I take notes to help me stay on track, because I can be very scatterbrained and go off topic sometimes. And that's just my truth. So, but the reality is that this has been my experience for me, and to be able today to listen to that something inside me that tells me that something isn't right, or if it doesn't align with my vision, then I know enough to just stay away from it and not do it, and that's okay. There is nothing wrong with that, and if I want to go put on a Santa hat and crazy earrings and walk around the neighborhood and sing Christmas carols, I can do that, because that's just who I am. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing when you can be real and authentic, or when you can be authentic with people in your life and be honest with them and be true to them or with them. You know what I mean? That's another thing you have to, look at too, is always looking at your motives for things and situations. So if you're putting yourself in a situation, or even trying to offer help to somebody for something, but there's an underlying layer of a motive, you kind of have to look at that. You have to check that motive, because if that motive is to only be a self-fulfilling, okay, so let's use this as an example. You decide that you want to donate to a family for Christmas, right? Now, being real and authentic, you do it because out of the kindness of your heart, you want to help other people. You want to give something back. But if you're running around telling the whole world, I went and bought this family, $800 worth of stuff, and they're going to have this amazing Christmas because of me, and I did this and I did that, and me, I. Your motive is to bring... This is just kind of like a little example. 90% of the time, your motive could very well be trying to get credit or a pat on the back or whatever the case may be. There was something that was taught to me about 8 years ago about do something nice for somebody and don't tell anybody about it. And sometimes... there have been times over the course of so many years where I'll get an idea of wanting to do something for somebody, but if there's that underlying, what is going to come back for me in that sense, and it's not pure and authentic, I won't do it. Clear as day, I won't do it, because if it's not for a real and authentic, I just won't do it. If I go and donate something to somebody, or see somebody on the side of the road who's homeless and freezing cold and buy them a cup of coffee, I generally don't tell people when I do it. It kind of takes away from being humble. So always check your motives. Always check your motives. And at the end of the day, be yourself. Your beautiful, true self in everything and anything that you do. The right people will be in your life. The right people will follow you for just being you, the authentic, real you. So, I hope that this message was something that, was helpful to all of you today. I hope I stayed as much on track as I possibly could. But what I'd like you to do is comment below, tell me hello, let me know that you were here, and tell me a story about how you were authentic today. How are you the real you? The truest version of you. I really want to hear your stories. And if you're catching the replay, type replay. Let me know you're here so I can show you some love later. But in the meantime, I am going to go. I want to, finish my meal prepping for the week and cuddle up on the couch with some hot cocoa with the lights of my Christmas tree. I am so excited. It's so pretty. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week and a very, very, very exciting, holiday season. I can't believe it. It's a week and a half away from Christmas already. Ooh, I still have shopping to do. But thank you so much for being here. I love you all. Happy holidays and be safe. Bye.